Hello guys, my name is Fatima Airshade and I will be conducting the video part for our group project about functional communication training, and the scenario we picked is the Ellison Preschool. A little introduction about Ellison Preschool. So Ellison Preschool serves 200 students between the ages of 3 and 5 years old. 50 of the students receive regular education and the remaining 150 receive special education. 50 of the students receive speech therapy. Half of the 50 students who receive speech therapy are nonverbal, and 5 of the nonverbal use PECs. The remaining 20 nonverbal students point or grunt, but are not using any other communication methods. Staff members at Ellison Preschool include 20 teachers, 40 assistants, 2 full-time speech therapists, 1 occupational therapist, 1 physical therapist, 1 principal, 1 BCBA, and 4 to 6 volunteers daily. Why is there a need for change? There are currently ongoing concerns with behavioral issues in every class. These issues occur most often during playtime, in which fighting over toys and tantrums are regularly occurring. These fights and tantrums typically occur when a toy is taken from one student by another instead of them requesting the item due to lack of communication. So intervention for Ellison Preschool, we chose functional communication combined with PECs and sign language, and I provided picture examples of PECs and sign language. What is FCT? So FCT stands for Functional Communication Training. Functional communication training is an intervention used to decrease problem behaviors. FCT is a form of differential reinforcement of alternative, aka DRA, procedure in which the individual is taught to use appropriate forms of communication, also referred to as MANs, in order to decrease the occurrence of maladaptive behaviors. What is PECs and sign language? So PECs stands for Picture Exchange Communication, and it is designed for people with little or no communication to communicate through pictures. The individual using PECs is trained to approach another person and give them a picture of a preferred item in exchange for that item. And sign language is a language made by moving hands combined with facial expressions and postures of the body. Some common signs among individuals with ASD are more, eat, drink, play, music, help, and work. Here is an example of a child using PECs.
Thank you. Much better. Hey, what did you want? I want soda. Okay. All right, you got 3 sips, buddy. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. All right, let's talk some more about your day. Did you watch any TV? No TV? No news? Oh, downstairs? What'd you watch downstairs? Barney? Did you watch any Elmo? No. What about the airplane movie? Did you watch any of that? Over there on that TV? Yeah. Is his name Tom? Andy. Is his name Tom? No? Is it JJ? Yeah. All right, but hey, what did you want to do? I want movie. Okay. Go for it, buddy. You can have 1 minute. Yep.
Here's a video of a child requesting a preferred item through sign language.
A Thirdy, what do you want? Music. Good job, Thirdy. Oh, here is your music. Thirdy, what do you want? Music. Very good. Oh, here is music.
Sign language PECs as communication and a way to reduce tantrums for nonverbal. There was a study done by Lisa Jang in 2012, and she explains how sign language and PECs are ways to reduce tantrums in nonverbal individuals. She states that for children who can't speak, signing not only gives them the opportunity to show that they know what things are called, it also helps them to learn more. With the acquisition of signs, the child acquires the means to communicate. They can begin to make themselves understood, significantly reducing their frustration, which had probably expressed itself in tears and tantrums. At the same time, your frustration is also decreased. Steps prior to implementation. Number 1, determine the problem behavior. 2, take baseline data on the child and their ability to request appropriately. 3, create a goal or clear outcome stating behavior expectancy. 4, create a PECS board. Add all appropriate visual pictures, symbols the child comes into contact onto the board. 5, provide the child with the PECS board. The staff and child will be taught how to use the PECS board. And lastly, run a preference assessment to determine a reinforcer. Steps for implementation. Number 1, the teacher or staff informs the student of the appropriate behavior they are to engage in. Number 2, the teacher or staff will use the most intrusive prompt to prompt the child to request an item or action off of the PECS binder by providing the individual they are engaging with a picture or symbol off of the binder. Number 3, the teacher or staff will reinforce the child when appropriately using the PECS binder to communicate. Number 4, the teacher or staff will slowly fade their prompt when the child is requesting items with the use of the PECS binder. Number 5, the teacher or staff will continue to reinforce the child when engaging in the appropriate use of the PECS binder. Lastly, number 6, the teacher or staff will continue to fade their prompts until the child is able to independently request items or actions independently without engaging in aggression towards other or tantrums. Tips for implementation. When applying functional communication training, make sure that the individual is being flooded with language throughout the entire session. If using a PECS board, communication board, or sign language visual helpers, the individual uses that communication outlet across all environments, including at home, center-based sessions, and school. The individual implementing should run multiple preference assessments throughout session to ensure a strong reinforcer is set in place to motivate the individual to request. Materials that will be needed for the intervention include a binder, Velcro, scissors, a computer, pictures or symbols, a printer, a laminator, laminating sheets, and data collection sheets. Here's a sample of our data collection sheets. How can PECS and sign language help Ellison Preschool? Working towards building proper communication between kids with ASD can help the students match for preferred items in an appropriate manner. FCT is considered a type of differential reinforcement of alternative behavior procedure in when an appropriate behavior is encouraged or reinforced, whereas the inappropriate behavior is then placed on extinction or given minimal attention. This program will allow for the students to learn more appropriate means of expressing themselves instead of fighting with their peers or having tantrums due to their lack of communication abilities. Staff training. The BCBA will set up training classes to teach all staff members that work directly with the children how to implement FCT and DRA procedures. These training courses will be hands-on as well as lecture style. Every teacher will participate in mock situations so that the BCBA can identify and coach any weaknesses. These training courses will take place after school. All staff will be separated into 3 groups, and each group will participate in 2 training classes each. To follow up with the trainings, the BCBA will continue to monitor implementation and will closely observe each class with a slow startup schedule to allow for further training and explanations as needed. If at any time the BCBA identifies staff members that are struggling with proper implementation, then the staff member will be required to complete another training class. Tiers of intervention. These procedures will be incorporated amongst all students in the school throughout daily schedules as needed, Tier 1. However, due to the differences in population within the school, there will need to be some students who will benefit more from being in smaller groups, Tier 2. These students will consist of the 5 students that currently use PECs. Additional modification will be made for the 20 students that are nonverbal and do not have any previous communication training. These students will fall under Tier 3, in which they will be provided with individual lessons. Thank you for giving us the time and listening to our presentation.